Hey warriors, welcome to Empowerment in Illness. I am Gwen, your host. Living with chronic illness can make you feel like you're constantly behind. Behind on life, behind on work, behind on healing. You look around and it seems like everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck just trying to get through the day. That feeling can wear you down more than the symptoms themselves. There's this quiet pressure that creeps in. You should be doing more. You should be stronger by now. You should be further along. And when your body doesn't cooperate, it's easy to start blaming yourself, like you're failing some invisible test you never agreed to take. But here's what we don't talk about enough. Healing doesn't move in straight lines. It doesn't follow a schedule. It doesn't care about calendars or deadlines. Chronic illness has its own rhythm, and most of the time, it's slower than the world around you. So today, we're slowing this whole thing down. We're going to talk about what healing really looks like, why your pace isn't wrong, and how to stop measuring your life against timelines that were never meant for you. If you've been feeling tired, discouraged, or like you're falling behind, this conversation is for you. Let's get into it. One of the biggest lies we've been taught about healing is that it should look neat and predictable. We grow up believing progress means steady improvement. You start feeling bad, you get treatment, you feel better, and you move on. That makes sense for a cold or a sprained ankle. It doesn't make sense for chronic illness. With chronic illness, progress rarely moves in a straight line. You can have a really good week where you finally feel like yourself again, and then wake up one morning completely drained for no clear reason. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't make a mistake. Your body just shifted, and that shift can feel discouraging fast. When that happens, it's easy to slip into negative self-talk. You start thinking you're back at square one. You tell yourself all that effort didn't count. You look at the flare or the fatigue and assume it erased everything you worked for. But that's not actually what's happening. Healing doesn't reset to zero just because you had a bad day. Your body still remembers the strength you built. You still learn your limits. You still gain knowledge about what helps and what hurts. None of that disappears. It stacks quietly even when you can't see it. The problem is we compare our journey to people who aren't living in our bodies. We compare ourselves to coworkers, friends, or even strangers online who seem to bounce back faster. But their timeline isn't your timeline. Their body isn't your body. Chronic illness doesn't follow anyone else's clock. So when you hit those slower days, it doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're human. It means your body is doing the complicated work of trying to balance symptoms, energy, and survival. And sometimes that work looks like rest, not momentum. If you can start seeing healing as a winding path instead of a straight road, something shifts. You stop expecting perfection. You stop punishing yourself for normal setbacks. And you start giving yourself the grace you would easily give someone else. One thing chronic illness doesn't get enough credit for is how much invisible work you're doing every single day. Even on days when you feel like you didn't accomplish anything, you probably did more than you realize. It just doesn't look impressive from the outside. Think about how much planning goes into one normal day for you. You're managing medication, timing your energy, deciding what you can handle and what you need to skip. You're checking in with your body constantly. That's work. That's effort. Most people don't even have to think about those things. There's also the mental load, scheduling appointments, calling insurance, tracking symptoms, remembering what your doctor said last time, advocating for yourself when you're tired, explaining your conditions over and over. That's not small stuff. That's exhausting. And it takes strength most people never have to build. But because none of it comes with applause, you start believing it doesn't count. You tell yourself, I didn't get much done today. Meanwhile, you navigated a body that requires constant attention and still showed up to life the best you could. That's not nothing. That's resilience. We tend to measure progress by big, visible milestones. Going back to work full time, cleaning the whole house, finishing big projects. But chronic illness progress is usually quieter. It's getting through the day without crashing. It's learning when to stop before you hit empty. It's making one healthy choice instead of 5 perfect ones. Those small decisions add up. They're building stability even if you can't see it yet. You're learning your patterns. You're understanding your limits. You're getting better at protecting your energy. That's growth. It's just not flashy. So if you ever catch yourself saying, I didn't do anything today, pause for a second. Look closer. There's a good chance you did a lot more than you're giving yourself credit for. Chronic illness just hides the effort from everyone else, including you. Once you start noticing that healing is slow and often invisible, something else tends to show up. Comparison. It sneaks in quietly and messes with your head before you even realize what's happening. You look around and it feels like everyone else is moving faster. Someone else with the same diagnosis is working full-time. Someone else is traveling. Someone else looks fine on social media. And suddenly, you start questioning yourself. Why can't I do that? What's wrong with me? Why am I so tired? But here's the thing you forgot. You're only seeing the highlight reels of other people's lives. You didn't see their bad days, their crashes, or the night they cancel plans. You don't see the accommodation they quietly put in place or the help they receive behind the scenes. You're comparing your real life to their edited version. And even if someone truly is doing more than you right now, that still doesn't mean you're failing. Chronic illness doesn't show up the same way in everybody. 2 people can have the same diagnosis and completely different symptoms, energy levels, and limitations. There isn't one standard timeline we're all supposed to hit. Comparison turns healing into a competition, and healing was never meant to be competitive. There's no prize for pushing yourself past your limits. There's no trophy for pretending you're fine when you're not. All that does is set you up to crash harder later. What comparison really does is steal your focus. Instead of listening to your own body, you start chasing someone else's pace. You ignore your signals. You say yes when you should say no. You push through when you should rest. And then you blame yourself when things fall apart. Letting go of comparison doesn't mean you stop caring about growth. It means you bring the focus back home, back to your body, back to your needs, back to what actually works for you. Because your healing doesn't need to look like someone else's to be valid. When you stop measuring yourself against other people, something softens. There's less pressure, less shame, more space to move at a pace that's sustainable. And that's where real progress starts to feel possible again. Once you stop comparing yourself to everyone else, you get the chance to ask a different question. Not how fast should I be healing, but what does progress actually look like for me right now? Because progress with chronic illness usually doesn't look dramatic. It doesn't come with a big announcement or huge milestones. Most of the time it's quiet. So quiet that you miss it if you're not paying attention. Progress may look like getting out of bed without feeling defeated. It might look like making one phone call you've been putting off. It might look like cooking a simple meal instead of ordering out because you're exhausted. These things don't sound impressive, but they matter. Some days, progress is choosing to rest before you crash. It's saying no to something that would have drained you. It's recognizing your limits and honoring them instead of pushing through just to prove something. That's not weakness. That's wisdom you didn't have before. We tend to celebrate productivity, not preservation. But people living with chronic illness, preservation is everything. Protecting your energy, protecting your mental health, protecting your body from burnout. That's how you build a life you can actually sustain. When you start measuring progress differently, the story changes. Instead of feeling like you're always behind, you begin to notice small wins. You see that you're handling things better than you used to. You recover faster. You understand your patterns more clearly. You advocate for yourself more confidently. None of that shows up on a highlight reel, but it's real growth. It's the kind that keeps you steady long term. And honestly, that kind of progress is worth more than any big flashy moments. So maybe progress right now isn't about doing more. Maybe it's about doing what supports you and letting that be enough. There's going to be seasons where everything feels slower than you want. Weeks where your energy is low, your symptoms are louder, and nothing seems to move forward the way you planned. And those seasons can mess with your confidence fast. It's easy to think you're slipping backwards when that happens. You start replaying old fears. You wonder if all the progress you made disappeared. You question whether you're ever going to feel steady again. Those thoughts show up quietly, but they carry a lot of weight. But slow seasons don't mean you're failing. They mean your body is asking for something different. More rest, more patience, less pressure. And if you're honest, most of us fight that at first. We don't want to slow down. We want to power through and get back to normal. The problem is pushing through usually costs more than it gives. You end up exhausted, frustrated, and sometimes sicker than before. What your body really needs is the opposite. It needs you to listen, to soften your expectations, to stop treating yourself like you're missing something. Being gentle with yourself isn't giving up. It's not laziness. It's not lowering the bar. It's choosing sustainability over burnout. It's recognizing that you can't bully your body into healing faster. You can only support it. Sometimes being gentle looks like canceling plans without guilt. Sometimes it looks like taking a nap in the middle of the day. Sometimes it's simply saying today was hard and that's okay. Those small acts of kindness toward yourself add up more than you think. And at the end of the day, you're not on anyone else's clock. You're not late. You're not behind. You're healing at your own pace. And that pace is allowed to change from week to week. That's not weakness. That's reality. So if today feels slow, let it be slow. If this season feels heavy, treat yourself with the same compassion you'd give someone you love. Because you deserve that same care too. I want to leave you with something to carry into your week. It's just a few things to think about and maybe journal through when you have a quiet moment. Consider this your food for thought. What does healing at your own pace actually look like in your life right now? What small wins have you experienced lately that you didn't give yourself credit for? What is one way you can be gentler with yourself this week? Where in your life are you pushing yourself harder than your body is ready for? When was the last time you let yourself rest without guilt or explanation? What would it look like to trust that your pace is actually what it needs to be right now? Marinate on those. And now, a word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Empowerment in Illness, a supportive space built for people living with chronic illness who want clarity, confidence, and practical tools to navigate everyday life. If you ever felt overwhelmed trying to keep track of symptoms, appointments, or what you even need to say at your next doctor visit, you're not alone. That's exactly why we created tools like My Voice Ally and My Flarecast, so you can organize your health information, spot patterns, and walk into appointments prepared instead of stressed. We also offer resources like the Paper Trail Medical Binder, the Empowered from the Start Workbook, and guided journals like The Quiet Power Within and Getting to Know My New Normal. And if you're newly diagnosed with lupus and feeling lost, the Roadmap gives you 4 clear stops to help you understand what comes next and how to advocate for yourself with confidence. Everything was created by warriors for warriors. Be prepared. Don't panic. And now back to the show. Before we leave, I would like to close with a special portion of the show I call Healing Heartbeats. This is where we allow ourselves to wallow in sorrow. Give yourself 3 minutes to laugh, cry, scream, cuss, or just sit in silence. Whatever you need to do to feel it, do it. Let the depression in for only 3 minutes. Once you reach 3 minutes, compartmentalize it and get back to living. This is a rinse and repeat behavior. You cannot let depression take over, because when it does, it will not let go. When we hear about the passing of someone, they have the day they were born and the day they pass away. There is a dash in the middle. It's not a long line, but a short dash. That dash represents your life. Go live in spite of having a chronic illness. Don't let your condition stop you. Healing with a chronic illness takes more patience than most people realize. It doesn't follow a schedule, and it rarely looks the way we expect it to. Some days you feel strong. Other days you feel like you're starting over. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're living in a body that asks for care, not pressure. If this season feels slow, let it be slow. You don't have to rush your recovery to keep up with anyone else. Your timeline is yours, and it deserves respect. The work you're doing, even the quiet, unseen work, still counts. Be gentle with yourself this week. Celebrate the small wins. Rest when you need to. Trust that your body is doing the best it can with what it has. Healing doesn't have to be impressive to be meaningful. Remember, you have the strength, the heart, and the support to continue your journey. Be safe.